It's a new week and I'm back with another weekly video. I have a video up every Sunday, latest Monday, and I'm so happy to be back. Thank you to all your support, all your shares, likes and comments, and hello to my new subscribers and of course my old loyal subscribers. Hope you're all doing well and I hope you've watched my last video. Gosh, so today what I have for you guys, I have something quite personal to share with everyone. I'm going to share my story of some of my struggles with anxiety. If you watched my first video, you would have seen that I sort of mentioned it, and I've mentioned in other videos as well about my own personal struggle with anxiety, but I thought I would leave it to one video so that you can have it all in one place. So I'm not sure, I haven't really planned the structure of this video. I'm just going to go with the flow really, because I don't want to overthink it and begin to stumble on my words, etc. You won't believe that I actually sat in front of this video for like 10 minutes looking at my hair, looking how I, looking at everything, and I'm going to touch a bit on that, in the video as well. But just as one example, I sat in front of the camera and said, your hair just looks weird, it looks funny, it looks funky, your natural hair isn't, thoughts like your natural hair isn't beautiful, people are going to look at you, you're not going to watch your hair because your hair's out, you don't have your long nice weave on, people will judge you because you have your natural hair out. These were some of the thoughts that I had literally seconds before this video, and I thought, you know what, I'm going to mention it because this is why we're here. I'm here to be transparent and honest with you. This is my hair is kinky, it does what it does, it gets on my nerves sometimes, but this is my hair. And I said, actually, I'm not going to sit here and waste time. My family is away, not away, but my daughter's with my husband. I've got this time to record this video. I'm not going to waste this video pondering on thoughts about how my hair looks. I'm going to give you guys a video, and so I thought I would share that with you because this is real life. I still struggle with core beliefs. Like I mentioned, if you haven't watched the core beliefs video, I will link it in my description box. But yes, I wanted to share my story of anxiety. And I'm going to go from 3 different views or aspects of what I struggled with in terms of anxiety growing up. And the first one is for some time I struggled with my parents, my dark skin, and of course my natural hair. Though I've only been natural for since 2014, so I've been natural for 7 years, but I had long relaxed hair since I was 6 years old. So one was my parents, second was with my voice, so my speaking voice as I'm speaking to you now, and then my singing voice. So those 3 things were the things that I was anxious about. So public speaking, especially at my church, I would shy away from it. I shied away from it for so many years. Singing as well, I shied away from it for so long. And then my parents, I just always had negative thoughts about what people felt about how I looked. So I think I'll start with the parents aspect. So like I said, core beliefs are how you see yourself, how you view yourself, how you view others, and how you view the world. So of course, growing up, being Nigerian, so I'm Nigerian, my ethnic background is Nigerian, growing up in Britain, and what else? Okay, I'm a Christian, so these are factors about me. So in terms of my parents, obviously the world that we live in have for so long obviously favoured the white skin or the fair skin, the lighter skin, the lighter complexion. My mum, if you know my mum's really fair. She's really, really fair. If you see us together, you probably, unless you look hard enough, you probably won't know that we're related. But she's very fair. My dad is very dark. And growing up, little things that people would say, I guess left little nuggets in my mind about how I looked. So I would have comments like, oh my gosh, is that your mom? Oh, why are you so dark? And why is your mom so light? Why do you look so different? You're so dark. Like, you're so dark compared to your mom. Your mom is so light. Your mom is so pretty. etc. And she's buff. My mum is beautiful. So comments like this growing up, in my head, so I put two and two together and felt, okay, if I'm so dark, my mum is so light and she's always told she's so pretty, then perhaps maybe I'm not pretty. That's the conclusion I made in my mind as a young girl. So, and I would look in the mirror and think, you know, I think I look okay. I thought I had a mediocre look growing up. So that affected my somewhat how I socialized with people, meeting new people, especially of the opposite sex. I would wonder or think, what is this person thinking when they look at me? Do they find me attractive? Do they think I'm ugly? Like, what's going through their mind? And so I would just try to avoid just going into social gatherings just altogether. I remember even at church, growing up in the Sunday school, obviously I was still young, having fun playing, but when I entered the youth fellowship, I just dreaded having to go into church and having to go into the youth fellowship and see boys and think, gosh, what are they thinking when they see me? But I had a friend, my best friend Evelyn, and she was really confident, and she will never know that it's just when she was around, I felt a lot more comfortable. She was very confident, she was very outspoken, and she made me feel confident. She would always say nice things about me and about my parents, and I just felt she was just saying it because we were best friends or something. But she was literally, she would never know like how much she meant to me in those times, especially growing up as a teenager. Like, our bodies going through different things. I had those insecurities back then. But what I wanted to get out of that was, it was more important about how I saw myself rather than trying to figure out what everyone else felt. It didn't help, of course, that we live in a society where darker skin is seen as dirty, darker skin is seen as poor, darker skin is seen as, you know, second place. It doesn't help that we live in that society, but most importantly, it affected my core beliefs. And what makes core beliefs even stronger and harder to let go of is when things around us seem to confirm it. It doesn't help the situation at all, does it? And so that was one aspect. I think when I got to college, I just started to feel myself a bit more. I think I grew into myself. I accepted who I was. And when I became more confident, it somewhat attracted people. So when I grew confident, I just assumed, I guess I became more likable because I just accepted who I was. So the second aspect was that I mentioned was my speech. So I obviously speak really fast. I speak really fast, and I never really wanted to do public speaking or have to speak because I didn't want to like stutter on my words and then have people think like, what did she just say? She speaks so fast. Of course, when I meet people and you know, every now and then I do stutter on my words. I don't stammer, but I stutter on my words sometimes. And it doesn't help when people say, huh? Huh? What did you say? Pardon? What did you say? Can you say that one more time? Can you say it again? Please say it again. So I dreaded that because I'm thinking, gosh, can I really not talk? Because no one can hear me when I speak. I speak so fast. Like, I might as well not speak because no one understands what I'm saying. So those are the thoughts that went through my mind. And there was someone, you know, a very close family friend that mentioned that, oh my gosh, Olamide, you sound like Donald Duck. And that crushed me so much. I was so crushed. I was just so crushed and so heartbroken. And I believed it. I believed that I sounded like Donald Duck. And it really, and the person was joking. They weren't coming from a place of harm or anything, but it really hurt me. And I felt if he thinks this way, then everyone else thinks that I sound like Donald Duck, so I shouldn't speak because I don't want to be laughed at. I don't want to be picked on. I don't want to feel rejected. Gosh, I'll touch on that word in a second, rejection. And then lastly, at my singing voice. So I remember I was young and I went to my mum and I said, Mommy, I can sing. And she was like, oh, really? Okay, sing for me. And I remember being so confident, knowing that, gosh, I have this unique voice, I can sing. And she's reassured me, said, yes, she can sing. That little girl, I don't know where she went, because I then had the opportunity to join my church choir. I would have been around 12 or 13 when I joined the youth choir. That opportunity was there. Every opportunity I had to lead, to sing, I would say no. I would say no, I don't want to, I can't sing, I don't want to sing. I then became fearful. And I wonder, where did that little girl that said, Mummy, I can sing, where did she go? What happened? Honestly, I can't tell you. But the thoughts again that were going through my mind is, you can't sing. And you know, you can't sing, your voice is shaky, you sound weird. These were the thoughts that were going through my mind. Again, down the line, someone jokingly said, you sound like a goat. Again, what did I do? I held on to it. I held on to it to the point where I started believing that when I sing, I sound like a goat. I can laugh at it now, but we have to be so careful. Even in our jokes, some of the things that we laugh and joke about are some of the things that people are really insecure about, and they hold on to it like it's the truth, and it's not the truth. So what was the point of me bringing this up? The reason why I shared this with you is because my core beliefs were shaped at a very young age, and it affected the way I behaved in my teenage years. It affected the way I interacted. It affected the things that I participated in. It really did. And because I spent so much time in church, I literally grew up in church. We had concerts, we had groups, we had Bible studies. Like, all my friends and family that I'm close with till date were people that I grew up in church with. But it was even at church that I was the most anxious and the most afraid. Isn't that ironic? And it's a big shame. But the one thing that I will say is, the same place that I was afraid of was the same place that I gained my confidence. And so ultimately, your core beliefs, the thoughts that go through your mind and the things that you automatically assume about a situation, you have to shift. You have to literally shift that mindset. So like I said in the core beliefs video, your core beliefs, ultimately, they shape your anxieties. And so because I had these core beliefs about my parents, about my singing voice and my talking voice, I then became anxious to talk. I became anxious to sing, and I became anxious to be around places where people would have to look at me. Does that make sense? And it was just a cycle of just feeling anxious. And I remember I said I would share. So when I'm anxious, my heart, it's like my heart wants to jump out of my body. My heart is beating 100 miles per hour. Another sign that I get when I'm feeling really anxious is I need to use the loo, I need to pee. When I have those two responses, I know that anxiety is trying to hold me back. But you know what? It cannot hold me back no longer. And what I want to share with you is the first tip of many tips that will come. So I've already shared before, change your core beliefs. What are your core beliefs about yourself? Forget what you think other people think about you, because you probably never know people's deepest thoughts about you. People can lie to you till thy kingdom come. You will never know what they are truly thinking. So you might as well just throw it away, because you're never going to know what they think about you. Unless you trust what they say about you, the words they say about you, and their affirmations about you, their validations about you. If you trust and believe it, then fine. But you'll probably never know people's true thoughts about you, so you might as well not waste time trying to figure it out, especially if it's negative. So you want to change the way you see yourself and how you see people, and not automatically assume that it's negative. because it may not be negative. And even if it is negative, it's probably a small fraction. There is probably more people that are looking up to you as an inspiration. So that's the first one. The second thing that helps me overcome my anxiety, I was never formally diagnosed with anxiety, but my experiences of it, how my anxiety reduced over time, was because I did it. And what do I mean by I did it? I did it. Do it. Do something. Do it and do something. The thing that you're most anxious about doing, do it. Why? Scientifically, so in terms of feeling anxious, let's just say this is the level of your anxiety. So 10 being the most anxious and 1 being the least anxious. If there's something that you're most anxious about and you're at level 10, if you can gradually expose yourself to that thing, your anxiety will begin to reduce. So the max is 10 of being most anxious. So let's say going to the park, it gets you to level 10. If you can slowly get to the park, so maybe on Monday you walk 1 mile towards the park, Tuesday you walk 2 miles to the park, and then by the end of the week you're at the park. You're gradually exposing yourself to the park. By the time you get there, because you've gradually exposed yourself to it, your anxiety will no longer be at 10. It would have reduced by the time you gradually got there. And so my point is, I did it. What did I do? I started singing. That's for one. The thoughts were there. You can't sing. People are thinking you can't sing, but I still sang. I began to sing. Secondly, I began to public speak. I'm now a youth leader. From being a youth, I'm now a youth leader. I put myself in a situation where I was so uncomfortable, very uncomfortable, but now I can public speak, and my anxiety levels have gone down tremendously, and it's because I did it. I just done it. And I can remember my first public speaking, preaching at my youth fellowship. I was a mess. I was jittering, I was stumbling, I was a hot mess. But now, oh my gosh, it's not like I don't get nervous to speak, but it doesn't stop me from getting the message out there. And once I've started and I've said, okay, I'm still alive, I haven't been harmed, I'm okay. And even if people do reject what I'm saying or reject me, which it hasn't happened, it won't stop me from talking again. Why? Because people change. The same people that may put you in a pedestal are the same people that may pull you down, and vice versa. And so I try not to rely on the opinions of people. It's subjective, it's not factual, right? So my advice is to do it. Do something about the situation. Do it. Get to work. Be active. So my core beliefs over time have shifted. And I owe that mostly to my faith. The kingdom principle that I wanted to mention today is that I'm fearfully and wonderfully made. So I know I'm unique. In my first video, I mentioned that I am a piece in a puzzle. And without my piece, without me, the puzzle's incomplete. Sorry for the motorcycle. So I'm fearfully and wonderfully made, meaning there's no one that's like me. There's no one weird like me. There's no one quirky like me. There's no one as unique as me. I am the only person that can be me. I am the only person that can be Debbie or Debbie Oyewole. No one can do that job for me and do it greatly. Only I can do me greatly. And so in terms of the fear of rejection, if you continue to live life fear of rejection, because that's the only thing that can happen. What you're most anxious about, if it's going to cause you harm, if it's because you're going to fail at it, if it's because you're the fear of rejection, you might as well try. You might as well risk it to see if that will actually happen. And most times it probably won't. Remember I said anxiety is completely normal if you are avoiding danger. But most things that we're anxious about don't actually cause harm to us. The most harm it may cause is perhaps, it's most likely is the rejection. It's feeling rejected. It's the comments of people, what people will say. But if you know what you're saying is right, if you know what you're saying is true, if you know what you're saying is noble, if you know your motive and intentions are pure, then you don't have to worry about the feedback, because you did what was right. You did what was right. And so ultimately, as humans, we want to be loved. It's completely normal, and it's fine to want to be loved, and we want to be accepted. We want to be loved and we want to be accepted. And so the feelings of anxiety, if it's stopping you from doing the things that you're supposed to do, again, I'm saying, don't let it stop you. Because there's something that you would do and that you need to do that will help someone else. And I think that's a good time to wrap this up. I didn't know I was talking for 20 minutes. But I thought I would share a bit about me and some of the things that that I've been through and how I overcame it. So I'm not here saying that I never get anxious. Like I said, I don't claim to have anxiety. But when I have feelings of anxiety, I know that that's the more reason why I have to do it. Because I know that I'm going to overcome something. I know it's going to make me better. So thank you so much for watching to the very end of this video. I know it was a long one. Thank you. I'll be back next week with another video. Thank you for all your support. Bye.